Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and breaking transfer news. Lammens has been chosen by Manchester United. We'll go through the fee, we'll go through the deal, but I've had to take a couple of minutes to compose myself. It's not fair to say what I think because this is a new signing coming into Manchester United, and I'm a firm believer that when a new signing comes in, even if I have, strong thoughts about it, it's not the player's fault. It is a dream move for them, and we must back this player. Absolutely. Can we still get both? Fabrizio Romano is saying that Galatasaray are now exploring a deal for Emi Martinez. I'll be honest, I'm absolutely gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. I think I'm not surprised. I literally said this a couple of hours ago on the morning show. If you look at what United did with Watkins and Šeško, they went with the younger option who will maybe be a good player in the future with a resale value. They've gone and done it in the goalkeeping position. I stand by what I said. Emi Martinez is one of the top 3 goalkeepers in the Premier League, and you put him in goal against Man City and you've got an experienced goalkeeper who can lead the back line, who is a good goalkeeper. We've now got a guy who's never played in the Premier League, he's got no experience, and is meant to be telling people like De Ligt, Yoro, Maguire what to do. I think it's a massive risk. And United just seem to be very of the opinion that it doesn't matter what happens in the now. In the future, we will be good. And that's the plan. In the future, we will be good. I did say Sir Jim Ratcliffe is obsessed with Chelsea, and he's following the Chelsea model, buying young players for the future. Now, I know Cunha and Mbeumo weren't necessarily young, but when you look at Šeško and Lammens, 2 of our signings are young for the future players. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I'm not ranting and raving. I hope this goalkeeper is very good, but I think it could be massively short-sighted because our manager's under pressure to get the sack, and you've given him a goalkeeper that's not ready. You basically, hopefully, given him David De Gea from 10 years ago, and he wasn't ready in year 1, and he was coming into a team that could win leagues. You're putting a young goalkeeper in, the sticks in this situation. I'm not overly happy with it, to be honest. But I'm not overly happy with the transfer window. So, I'm a miserable sod. I'll put my hands up. I'm not happy with this transfer window. I think it's been crap. And I don't think we're going to get the midfielder. And I don't think a young goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp is going to make me feel confident. I think this season's going to be very, very difficult. So fasten your seatbelts in. If you're an Amrim Outer, I think you're going to make hay this year. And that makes me very sad. I don't rate the ownership. I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think they understand the club we are, and I don't think they're making decisions that are useful. I've seen the Ineos rimmers on social media, praising this signing, praising the sales on the transfer deadline day, and I'm like, still don't think we've got a goalkeeper. Still don't think we've got a midfielder. What we have got is a potential goalkeeper who might be good. We could have had Premier League proven goalkeeper who was desperate to sign for us. I find it difficult. Ryan says, stop moaning. The transfer window's been decent. That's up to you. Ryan, you're entitled to your opinion. Welcome to the United Stand. But I won't stop moaning because I'm not moaning. I'm giving you my honest reaction. Moaning is like, being negative for, when there's nothing to be negative about. We finished 15th last year, Ryan. We lost the Europa League final. We've had a not very good start to the season. Our midfield is shit. Our goalkeeper is shit. And we've decided to go for a kid who's never played in this league before over somebody that's desperate to come for us, who's Premier League proven and one of the best goalkeepers in the league. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit disappointed by that, honestly. But, as I said, it's not his fault. It's the club's fault, and we have to back the player. But look, the thing that disappoints me about it is if we'd never been in for Martinez, I never would have known. And I'd have said, look, it's risky going for a young goalkeeper, but let's back him. Let's hope he does really well. The fact that they flirted with this Martinez deal to bring Lammens in is just, very, 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 very frustrating if you wanted Martinez, which I did. Insiders are convinced that Lammens is the best goalkeeper available in the market. Let's hope he is. Manchester United will not be signing Martinez. That's just been confirmed in the last few minutes. Somebody's saying here that Lammens comes in as a young goalkeeper to supplement the options that we've already got. Gets even better. Manchester United insiders are convinced that Lammens is the best goalkeeper on the market. Well, they're not going to say anything else, are we? I thought that was coming in from somebody. Man United insiders say he's the best goalkeeper in the market. I actually thought it was coming in from a relevant scout or something like that. And of course, Man United are going to do it. 21 million euros plus add-ons. He's cheap. He's cheap and he's young, basically. Emi Martinez was going to probably cost £30 million. We've gone for a cheap young goalkeeper with no experience, and let's hope it works, because that just seems to be United's strategy this season. Let's hope it works. Let's hope not having a midfielder works. Let's hope a young untested goalkeeper works. Let's hope it works. You know, we should all just get t-shirts with that. Manchester United, this is from Simon Stone, so BBC journalist. Emi Martinez to Manchester United is off. This is always the hard part of doing this, you know. It's having to react to something you're not happy about. And I have to say, Lammens I liked a few weeks ago as a potential young goalkeeper, but I think we've been led up the garden path here on a better option, and we've all been played. I think Emi Martinez has been played. I think the fan base has been played. I think ultimately we probably should have seen it coming, and we did see it coming because we spoke about it on the morning show. When Manchester United are offered a cheap young option or a ready-to-go player, you know what they're going to do, and they've done it. They've gone for the cheap young option. But I'll go back to my explanation, and you can call it moaning, you can call it negative. Before that Burnley last-minute penalty, Amrim out was trending. We are that close to those days, that close. We've got Man City and Chelsea coming up. Do I want Lammens in goal, or do I want Emi Martinez in goal? I know what I want. I know what I need. I need leadership. I need experience. I need quality. I do not need Binder, Lammens, or an Arna in goal. I don't. I'm gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna have to trust it. I'm gonna have to hope it works. But I think we've made the wrong choice. I think we've missed out on a really good opportunity. But it's not the first time in the last 10 years, and I'll deal with it. I'll get over it. And I do wish Lammens all the best. I hope he's well scouted. I hope he's going to work out well. But I'm old enough to remember when David De Gea came in. And even if he ends up being good, we're going to have to be ridiculously patient. I'm talking Dorgu. I'm talking that. We're talking a player that's going to make mistakes. It's going to be learning on the job. And we're going to have to be really patient with him. Really, really patient with him. So, look, I hope we can do that. But obviously, my disappointment is aimed at the board and the owners again, who I think have let us down and let the manager down. There we go. What about a midfielder, Mark? I'll talk about that in a moment, because there is some stuff still coming in, and I want to get into some of your comments, of course. In fact, I'll go to your comments first, because you're the most important people. Let me have a look at what you are saying. Let's get midfielder now. Sorry, I've got that completely wrong. What if Lammens is another Binder? Premier League is tough, says Visco. Well, look, we've chosen an inexperienced young goalkeeper over a Premier League proven goalkeeper who's definitely in the top 5 in the league. That's the choice we've made. Whether you're on board with it or not, that's the fact. That's the statement. That's the fact. We've chosen an inexperienced young goalkeeper over one of the best experienced goalkeepers in the league. That's the decision. And you're either happy with that, but what I find difficult is this crazy naivety that whoever at that football club thinks we're a football club that patience exists. Like, we've literally chosen this young, inexperienced goalkeeper who's maybe going to be brilliant in the future over somebody who can come in and perform now, on the belief that we're a football club that patience exists. I mean, where is this patience they think's there? What are they going to do? Just inflict it on us? That won't work. It won't work. Said the other day, the United goalkeeper is a heavy, never of Lammens. I trust they did background checks on his personality so he can handle it, says Rob. Young keeper coming in for the long term, hard to do, but it's the bigger picture. Also, does this mean there's a midfield deal brewing, says Robbie G. Since Lammens is cheap, we better be doing everything we can to get a midfielder. Look, we still have a few hours left. If we end up with a midfielder, maybe that's the kicker. If we don't end up with a midfielder, I think that makes this decision even worse, because it's, you know, as I said this morning, we've cleared a load of money in the last few days, and we're going to spend £17 million on a goalkeeper, and that's it. I mean, is this just a cat? I'll have to work on the figures this afternoon, but has this summer just been one big cost-cutting exercise? What is the net spend, actually? You know, this is a cheap signing as well. So much pressure on Lammens. I hope he does well, says Kieran. Me too. Do you think Lammens, we could get a midfielder, says Wolfie? I don't know. I mean, we're running out of time, mate. We've got 6.5 hours now. What if Lammens is another Binder? Premier League is tough, says Visco. Let's get a midfielder now, and I'd rate the window a 5 out of 10. Apart from experience in the Premier League, is Martinez that much better? More errors than Onana last year, mate. If you big shot, if you think Martinez is not one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the Premier League, then you're lost. I don't know what this whole errors and Onana bullshit's coming from. I mean, I can't get into that conversation. Wow, the Lammens deal could have been done 2 weeks ago as well, says Jahid. Yeah, I mean, another great point. This deal was there to be done 2 weeks ago, and we've waited till the last 6 hours of the window. I think, you know, disappointingly, I feel we've all been played. But it just shows you the lack of respect for the fan base, really. You know, they know most people wanted Martinez. They've played that public game, and they've gone for Lammens right at the end of the window when they could have done it 2 or 3 weeks ago. Can you explain why we triggered the extension for Sancho? Are we hoping that the next summer he'll have changed his mind about running his contract down? We're risking being stuck with him for another year. Money, David. It's all about money. We think we can get a fee for him next summer, but we couldn't get it this year. Do we have time to wait for Lammens' potential to turn into reality? Everything crossed right now because the media will be all over him from day one, says One Inch Wonder. United star, does not getting Martinez affect Sancho to Villa? I don't think so. I think signing Lammens is a better way, and in 1 or 2 seasons, Ruben was heavily interested with Costa from Porto. In the meantime, it would be better to get Lammens for now, says Nala. Now, I haven't got a problem with what you're saying, because what you're basically saying is I think Lammens will be good for the future. I think mine and many other people's answer to this is, where have you been for the last week? Have you not seen the Amrim Out movement? Have you not seen the media? At what point the United fans who are going, this is good for the future, it's a, you know, what future? We don't live in the next beyond the next game, let alone the next 2 years. I'll repeat it again. People talking about the future and potential. Do you not know what's happened to this football club in the last decade? We have no patience. Managers are being assessed on a minute-by-minute basis. We can't be buying players for the future. We can't be buying players for patience. We have no patience. I would subscribe to your opinion. I would say, yes, patience is great, but we have none. There is no... You know, it's all fine and well sitting here on a Monday lunchtime saying, well, it's a good signing for the future. Against Man City, Chelsea makes mistakes and we lose games. Where's that patience gone then? It's disappeared. And that's not me saying that, that's experience saying that. Like, there is no patience. When we signed Dorgu, oh yeah, he's a great signing for the future. After 2 games, people were saying he was dog shit. Not me. I will back any signing and I will give them time and patience, but the majority outweigh the minority, and the majority won't do patience. So that's my concern. The club just seem to be blind to this Chelsea obsession. You know, so Jim's obsessed with Chelsea, Favel's from Chelsea. We just seem to be obsessed with young resale value and cheap, and that's what we've done again. Is it possible we have a midfielder deal in the dark? I hope so, John, but there is still nothing on that. Can't believe Leverkusen ended the Ten Hag hate watch, says J Dead. He will make nervous mistakes in his first few games and fans will be calling for his head. Too much pressure. We need Martinez, says I am Sam. Look, he could be. Look, if he's half decent, he's going to be a major step up on the shit that we've got. So maybe that will help. They signed the wrong goalkeeper, says Chris. 4 signings after finishing 15th is a disgrace, says Ryan. Especially when 2 of them are works in progress as well. If Ineos are good owners, Nice would be better, says Tony. Hopefully it's because he's cheap so we can buy a midfielder, says Jonas. Plane following Lammens landing now is from Madrid. Conor Gallagher, we need to believe in Lammens, setting him up to fail, doubting him already, says Thomas. I don't think anybody's doing that, Thomas. I don't think anybody's doing that at all. I think people are just being honest. You know, I want Lammens to do well. He's a new signing, but I'm not going to lie and say that I think this is a cheap, naive signing over somebody that would have been ready to go and experienced. There's not a chance of Martinez coming in, Scott. It's been confirmed that that's off by good sources like Simon Stone. Do you think it was United's strategy for Sancho to go to Villa and we pursue a deal for Emi only for us to walk away? I feel really annoyed for Emi, says King. I think we've played Villa and I think we've played Emi Martinez and we've played those fans that wanted Martinez. Good news, but need to buy Martinez too. Not happening, Mac. It's off, Matt. The club has screwed this kid over already. We would have been happy with him, but they dangled Martinez in our faces. Now we're disappointed. I mean, that is an interesting point. I wouldn't necessarily say it's relevant, but it's an interesting point. You know, you want a new signing to come in on a wave of positivity. They basically brought him in, and some people are like, I wanted someone else. So Reese says, buy both, loan him to Villa. I mean, look, you know what? I don't know. Killerman says Martinez is worse than Edison, Pickford, Alisson, Kelleher, Leno, Rayo at the very least. He's incredibly overrated and he pulls a clanger regularly. That's just your opinion, mate. I disagree. Here we go. Repeating mistakes, says Big Z. Gutted. David had a stable team ahead of him when he came and Arna didn't. Lammens won't. Only makes sense if we get a midfielder now, says Big Z. Cameron says, can you shout out all the boys out here now in Tenerife, especially Jordan? He loves United. Enjoy it, lads. Sounds fantastic. I wonder if you're in Playa de las Americas because, well, you should be. That's where I went. It was good. Sorry, I disagree. Martinez would have no... here we go. Evan Whelan is wearing his Glazer T-shirt. Listen to this. Listen to this absolute nonsense from a Man United fan. This is a Man United fan, apparently. I disagree with you, Mark. I disagree. Martinez will have no resale value. I agree that Lammens is young, but we can't have another Casemiro. We got fans out here in 2025 talking about fucking resale value. Well, thank you, Glazers and Sir Jim Radcliffe, for turning our fan base into bloody accountants. And this is exactly the sort of shit you have to listen to now. Resale value, sell-on clauses. We're cooking. Fucking hell. Who says Lammens even starts against City? Very good point, Anthony. I think in the longer term, does Lammens even start? Martinez would have started. Maybe Bienda's in goal for the City game. Maybe Lammens is the backup. I don't know. I wanted Martinez, but to give the new transfer policy a chance, signing older players hasn't got us anywhere the last few years, says Matt. Neither's developing players either. Should have got Emi. Vitek is class. I'm from Bristol, says Jack. I'm impressed by this signing. I doubt I'm not impressed by this signing. I doubt he's any better than what we've got, says Joseph. I said the other day, the United goalkeeper is heavy, never of Lammens. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Let me just check something here because I'm being told that there's a little bit of stuff coming in. Remember, we're live at 2:00 all the way through to the close of the transfer window. We may actually have no other updates. I mean, Lammens is now done. This is from Fabrizio. Onana or Bienda may be an option for Galatasaray now that Man United has signed Lammens. I mean, look, this is a shit source. This is Football España with 64,000 followers. Manchester United have inquired with Conor Gallagher's management with an obligation to buy. It's a shit source, but you know what? It's transfer deadline day and we're desperate. 18.2 million pounds. Some people are saying what the deal is. 18.2 million pounds plus 3.5 million in add-ons. So it's cheap. It's cheap, isn't it? It's cheap and there's a resale value, and that is what Man United look at. I think essentially Man United are going to sell it that Lammens was their number one choice and the groundwork was done with Martinez just in case it fell through. You can't argue with that. If that's Manchester United's choice, you can't argue with that. I just think yet again they've misread the room that, you know, doing the work on Martinez, him being left out of the game yesterday, you've basically played a game with Antwerp that also backfires against your fan base. Because by playing the game with Antwerp to get what you want, you played a game with your own fans. That's disappointing, because if, like me, you wanted Martinez, we've been played for the club to get what they want. That's fine, but that's why I and some people are really disappointed, because we've been played as well. And I understand the game. Of course I do. I've played the game. They've played Antwerp off Martinez to get the Lammens deal cheap, and that's the one they want. But I look, I hope it's going to work. He will have my full support. I just can't hide my disappointment. I'm not saying he's shit. At no point have I said he's shit. At no point have I said I'm not backing him. You know, as I said, in life, so many people do red and green and nothing in between. You're toxic or you're positive. All I'm saying is I will back the signing. I back every signing. I'm just disappointed. I would have rather gone for the experienced goalkeeper that comes into a team that is lacking massively in that area. And a young goalkeeper from a Belgian league, I'm sorry, I'm sat here sort of going, it's not the same, is it? Doesn't mean the end game won't be the same, but it's not the same. And, you know, I hope it does work. I hope it does work. But, you know, you're asking us to trust an ownership that's not actually done that well. Nothing on a midfielder at the moment. Nothing coming through at all. I do need to talk about the midfielder actually, but I just want to make sure that I've covered off everything that's coming in. As I said, Man United insiders are convinced that Lammens is the best player on the market. I think there is a great point though. There is a great point that he may not even be our starting goalkeeper. Like, he may not start. When you look at the signing of Šeško, he hasn't started a Premier League game yet. So even though we've bought Lammens, there's no guarantee that he will be our starting goalkeeper. Which again was one of the reasons I was very excited about Martinez, because you can guarantee he would have started against Man City. Lammens might not even start. And anybody who's saying that he is, that's pure guesswork. He's young. He's never played here before. Obviously, he hasn't had much of a pre-season. It's Man City away. I think there's a very big chance he won't start that game, if I'm being completely honest, whereas Martinez would. So, again, you sort of look at it and you go, we bought a guy in who maybe doesn't go straight into the team, which means we've got to put up with Onana and Binder again, whereas we had an opportunity to put a guy in between the sticks who would have started our next game. I mean, look, that's up for debate. Maybe Lammens does start, maybe he doesn't, but I like it. We need to start building for the future, says Juzzo. I wish you understood this football club, mate. I really do. I don't get on board with that comment at all. There is no patience around Manchester United in the media, and there's a lot of impatience in the fan base. So you sitting here going, you're excited to build for the future. You know, I know there are some rimmers of the Ineos out there who, you know, pontificate this bullshit, and they're probably getting money for it. But I've never heard such shit in my life. And I'm somebody that understands we need patience, but it isn't there. I'm not going to bang my head up against the brick wall and say we're going to get patience. We're not. Building for the future. What future? What future is this we're building for? We've got no midfield, and now we're meant to be getting excited about a goalkeeper that might be good in the future. What future is it we're building for? Are we writing off seasons again? What future are we building for? What's the exciting future you're talking about? Our midfield in a year's time will have lost half of its 4 players. What future are we building? Like, I don't know what the future is we're building, so I can't get excited about it because I can't see what the future is. I can see a sporadic splash of good players: Cunha, Ahmad, Mbeumo, Šeško, Yoro, Dorgu, maybe Lammens. But there are big holes in that team. I don't think at the wing backs we're strong. I don't think we've got enough depth up front. The midfield is a big hole. I don't know what future it is we're building, mate. So I don't know what you're excited about, but I'm glad you are. What is Lammens like? I've got no idea, says James. Don't know. I am Sam says, my first super chat, Mark. He will make nervous mistakes in his first few games and fans will call for his head. We needed Martinez. I think Lammens will soon push Binder out, says Rob Always United. I'm just watching Deadline Day on Sky. It's embarrassing to be United. Newcastle, Brighton, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, and all others doing amazing business. We're slow, weak, and rubbish. You know what, mate? I was literally doing the same. I was just going through loads and loads of updates, and there's money here, there, everywhere. And we've just spent £17 million on a goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp, which nothing against him, as I say. I hope he does well. But what I'm saying, in the context of the bigger window, we needed 5 signings minimum. We've bought 4, and one of them's a prospect. I mean, 2 of them's a prospect, but look, Benjamin Sesko is well known. I don't class him as a prospect. Puts it out that we can only get Martinez based on Sancho going the other way for the Sancho deal to happen, and then pull out the Emmy deal. Villa mad, says Dorian. We shouldn't be worrying about resale value. We need to be competing now, says Man United. Is there a chance of signing a midfielder today? If so, how likely? Good morning from Alabama. I'm just joining the show, says Mo. The goalkeeping deal is done. All the exits are gone. There are basically 6 hours left in the window. We've got 6 hours to find a midfielder. That's the way I'm looking at it. But as of this minute, there are no talks. Lammens all the way if we go for Baleba as well, says Frankie. So Mark wants to clear the debt, but no resale, says Evan. Are you seriously real? Are you just... I think this is rage bait, but apparently Evan, the guy who wanks off to resale value, is now saying, I want to clear the debt, but I need to have players for resale value. I've got an idea for you, Evan, in relation to the debt. How's about, and it's a really novel idea, and I don't think it's been mentioned before, instead of getting excited about young players with potential that we can sell in the future, which I find crazy, why would I be excited about the ability to sell somebody later on? I mean, we're not a selling club. We're Manchester United. Why would I get excited that we might be able to sell Lammens for profit in the future? But more importantly, if you want to get rid of the debt, I've got absolutely no desire to be getting rid of the debt by selling players. I've got a really novel idea. How's about the Glazers fuck off and new owners come in and clear the debt for us? Oh, I think that was mentioned 2 years ago. Let's see how. We sign Lammens right now, and if we get a midfielder now, how much will you rate this window? Tune in at 7 o'clock. Tune in at 7 o'clock, Nallum. We will be assessing this transfer window in great detail and giving a score out of 10 at 7 o'clock when the window closes. Oh, you know, says, I don't understand why the club is not protecting the manager more. It's not just Amrin, but a constant theme at United. Yeah. Gary Walker says, my opinion is that the outgoings have been more important. The top 4 was out of reach. Free up wage bill for January next summer to compete down the line. Another Glazer. I'm honestly not fussy on... Oh, no, Gary, to be fair, you might be new. I ain't got no interest in this fantasy of bloody three bears and Goldilocks bullshit of we're clearing money to spend it in January. If we're clearing money, we spend it now. It's the same financial year. All this fantasy about January or you know, absolutely makes no sense. You're living in bloody Ladybird Books fantasy world. Like, we're clearing money now to spend it in January. Spend it now. The window is better to spend in a summer transfer window. Spend it now. It's a piece of piss. I'm honestly not that fussy on who we buy as a keeper. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we currently employ a volleyball expert and a guy who's scared of his own shadow, says Nick P. Evan Welsh, welcome to the Members Club. This transfer resembles zero ambition. Get Baleba in now to win back the fans, says Jim. What happens with Onana as well, says Daniel. I mean, Onana could still be our goalkeeper, pal. Like, he could still be our goalkeeper. We don't know what the role of Lammens is. Maybe he's a young goalkeeper for the future. Maybe he's going straight into the team. I don't know. Mark, I just want to let you know that you're an inspiration to many. What do you think the chances are we sign a midfielder, says Aidan? Well, you say that, and then I'm about to pop your dreams. The chances of us signing a midfielder with 6 hours left in the window have got to be well below 30%. There's a chance, but you know, I like a percentage, and I've got to say below 30% because there is zero talks with anybody. And even if you want to buy somebody, Conor Gallagher's in Spain. You know, I just don't see. I don't see it. I don't see it happens. I mean, just to give you some context, Crystal Palace and Liverpool have been in talks for ages over Guehi. That deal is apparently off or extremely difficult to do, and they've been working on that for weeks and weeks and weeks. How do Man United do a deal in 6 hours when they can't do one in 6 weeks? I'm working with a ginger goblin called Thomas, says Paul Hannon. I'm expecting another here we go. I have a feeling, says Dimitri. I hope so. I hope so. I Mark, surely Belieber would be possible last minute. I don't know, JT. It's very unlikely. I'm 16 years clean today, and yourself plus the United Stand community had helped me through some dark times. Forever grateful, says Daniel Green. Legend, pal. I'm glad to hear it. I thought Amrin wanted Costa, and he's only 30 million, says Scott. Isn't Costa the same price as Lammens? Why didn't we sign him, says Mohammed. I don't think Costa's available for 18 million. Lammens will be the youngest goalkeeper we have. There is no guarantee Ruben will even play him. I think this is a great point. I don't necessarily think he will be picked. We might. Why do I have to say these things? Like, we might be playing Binder and this midfield for the next few months. Lammens may not get in the team straight away, may not get in the team at all. We might use Binder in goal and this midfield for the next few months. What do you think about the 50% sell-on for Anthony, says Maxim? I don't think anything about it because I'm a football fan. I'm not an accountant. I couldn't give a toss about sell-on fees or anything like that unless we're going to spend it now. There is no chance of Emi Martinez, says Ryan. No, it's off. I ain't trying to wind anyone up, just having an opinion, says Evan. And very welcome they are. Any chance they want cheap so can get midfielders, says Greg. I'm Belgian, and unfortunately, I can say he's not very good. I hope he does well, but I'm afraid Martinez was far the better option, says Spitz. I mean, I don't know about that. I hope he does really well. I've seen a few people who've seen him say he's not that good, but I don't know whether that's just rage bait or whatever. What about Vitek from Bristol? He's the future, says Anthony. Shawshank says, I've watched Lammens. He's so much better than the current keeper, but he just does not catch the ball properly on low crosses or across the ball crosses, which is very necessary in the Premier League. Korshek says, I have a feeling a midfielder bomber will come and break the internet. Optimistic, but with these outgoing, I feel a push will be made. I hope so. The owners want us to celebrate losing millions on outgoings. Glazers out. We don't have time for patience. We are going backwards, watching everyone else move forward. I was probably going to talk more about this on the 7 o'clock show, but on the transfer review show. But I have said it a couple of times this summer. There is absolutely no doubt that football changed this summer. The spend in the Premier League was broken 2 weeks ago, and we've still got time left in the window. We've never had a summer spend as big as this. We've never had teams go out and buy the volume of players like they have, and we're not part of that conversation. We finished 15th, and teams ahead of us have outspent us. This is really simple as an analogy. You're running a race, and everybody's further ahead of you, and then everyone else is putting on better trainers, having a drink, having a massage, and United are basically just going to carry on. They're all going to go further and further ahead. And at what point are they out of sight? That's my concern. They are getting further ahead. There could be a way back. But is there a point where there is no way back? Is there a point where the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, they're earning that revenue so much every year that they're doing this every year and we can't do it? We've already had the evidence. This is really important. They're already ahead of us and they've outspent us. If they're going to do that every year, we're done. There is no way back. We are sat here. This is the most important sentence I'm going to say. The window is about to close. At the start of the window, we were like, we've got to try and catch up. At the end of the window, we've fallen further behind. If that happens again next year and the year after, you're falling further behind every year. You're not closing the gap, you're getting further away. So where is this way back Sir Jim talks about? If we're going to fall behind every year, the gap gets bigger. And nobody can tell me that Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea and Man City weren't ahead of us. They were. Look at the league. And nobody can tell me that they've not had a better window than us. So how are we catching them? On magic dust? On interviews? Do they think that if Amrim does more interviews than Pep, we'll be better than them? They're further ahead of us and they've had better windows than us. So we're falling behind. It's so obvious. Another belaboured this transfer is weird. Started with Premier League proven, now shifted cheap out on Emmy. No midfielder, pity Amrim not getting what he wants, but expect result from him. People talking about resale or Amrim outers. Seth, I think you need just to slow down and type it properly because that's really difficult to understand. I think I've got the gist. It's like the owners purposely don't back the manager so they can never be as powerful as Sir Alex, says Connor Dave. What's the chances of 100 million down on the table for Belabor? Says Robbie G. Get the owners out, they're shit, says Robotic. They have gone cheap with the goalkeeper. Surely that means a last-minute deal on a midfield player, says Mr. B. Calvin Phillips is becoming more realistic, says Love Hate Games. Chris Wheeler saying no plan for Binder or Anana to leave, even with Lammens. Help me, please, says Anthony Jury. Yeah, there's a bit of a brief coming out. I sort of touched on it at the start, that Lammens has been brought in to supplement what we've already got. Martinez would have come in as the number one. There's different wording here. Emi Martinez doesn't come into Man United to supplement Anana and Binder. He comes in to displace them. The wording around Lammens straight away is massively concerning. Bringing a goalkeeper in and keeping those two, you know, it's another season in the trenches, people. It is, you know, it is another season in the trenches fighting. Can we loan Lammens to Villa and get Martinez, says Alan? Well, we could, but we're not. Afternoon, Mark. I've been watching the season review of Lammens. For a young goalkeeper, looks amazing, and I think he deserves to get the number one shirt, says Devil Child. I hope you're right. Jay says, as a Belgian, Lammens will be the starter. Most saves above expected in Europe and a serious presence, but who cares if we don't get a midfielder? Great point. I'd still give this window a 6, whether we sign a midfielder or not, says Ashish, because why wait till deadline day if you're serious about rebuilding this club? 6 is actually average, mate. I think you've got a bit high. Bomber squad all gone now. 6 out of 10 window. Hope for CDM, says Keifel. Again, way too high in my opinion. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let me have a quick look what's going on. I'm absolutely starving, by the way. This is transfer deadline day. Don't feel sorry for me, but I was just about to eat and I didn't have much of a breakfast, so I've got a right headache. Aston Villa are working on a deal to sign Harvey Elliott. Not going to read him out because he's a shit source, but thinks he's real. Harvey Elliott, yes. Very, very faint. Okay, this is from Simon Jones. Manchester United see Lammens as a young, promising goalkeeper, preferring him over a more experienced option like Martinez due to his age. United's focus on a goalkeeper only intensified after recent errors. So they've gone for young resale value, haven't they? Let's be honest. If you're going to choose young and inexperienced over experienced but no resale value, it's about the money. That's what it is. That's why we went for Šeško over Watkins. It's United are obsessed with resale value. Evan Whelan FC. Okay, we are live again at 2 o'clock today, right the way through till the close of the window. So get involved in that. I've just been sent something else. There are no plans for Anana or Binder to leave United once Lammens signs, although there's still time for things to change. Anana has been expecting to stay, but not sure that would have been the case if United had opted for Martinez over Lammens. So, yeah, I mean, 140k a week and we're still bloody playing him. Crazy. Sorry, I'm just getting asked. I'm getting a message about a midfielder. He's on the show later, so he can tell you himself. Yeah, nothing about a midfielder at the moment. I just wanted to just double check. Nothing around a midfielder. I was just asking about Conor Gallagher. Yeah. De Burka says you're impossible to please, Mark. Think positive. Oh, mate, don't come on here starting your. I know where you've come from as well. You know what? You need to stop falling for the propaganda of the people on the payroll of the Glazers. I know who they are. I know what they do. They rim them and they get in your heads. This is not a good transfer window. It's not a good transfer window. I'm sorry. And Burmo and Sheshko were bought too late. Sheshko was option 5. Midfielder we don't have, and goalkeeper's been brought in right at the end of the window, and it's debatable whether it's the right one. We've lost points because we don't have a goalkeeper. We're not ready for the season. Everybody we've tried to sell, we've done late. It's not a good window, mate. And you can say, I can't be pleased. I can be pleased because you know what I do? I do honesty. I lay out what will please me. And I said it at the start of the window, and you can go and get the fucking clip, mate. I said at the start of the season, if we get rid of 5 or 6 players and we buy 5 or 6 players, I will give this transfer window a 9. And the 6 players I wanted was a goalkeeper, a midfielder, a number 10, a wing back, a centre back, and a striker, I think. Obviously, that's changed since then. But what would have made me pleased would have been a goalkeeper, a midfielder, 2 number 10s, and a striker. And they've not achieved that. So I'm not impossible to please. I'm just, realistic of the circumstances that we're in. Possible to loan Villa for Lammens, and we signed Emmy. No, awkward citizen, and it's already been ruled out. Are you happy with the outgoings? Anthony to go. I'm not particularly happy with the outgoings because I look at the Europa League final and none of the players we've sold actually played in that final. And I think there's still a load of shit at the club. But I'm realistic that they probably weren't going to get rid of them. Maybe the Lammens signing is following the Brighton approach, sign young players with high potential before other clubs go for them. Well, if we're the new Brighton, then maybe, it's all over. Sometimes as fans are greedy, it's a good window, says Tilak. I think we're being bombarded with rival fans here. Lammens has good stats and dominates in areas our keepers don't. Jeffrey, honestly, I want Lammens to do well, and I've said it loads of times, and I will back him like I have done for 10 years with every new signing, so I'm not going to be accused of that. But with all due respect, mate, where are you getting these stats? Is it the Belgian league by any? He's going to play in the Premier League, mate. Stats don't travel from the Belgian league. It's going to be a complete and utter refresh. If he's well scouted, hopefully most of that will work. But you can't compare his stats to Emi Martinez or Alisson. It's like comparing a Belgian league midfielder to Declan Rice. Like, it's not fair. It's a completely different league. I've spoken about Ten Hag getting the sack, JE. Again, that Man United is falling behind due to spend is down to the owners, specifically the financial structure, debt, wages, poor transfers from the Glazers. I wish to Jim the best turning it around. It will take time. Ripping our hair because Anana and Bienda are horrible at crosses. A Norwegian expert sat down and watched Lammens for hours and said that he's worse, says Stig. We'll see. No, now when Ten Hag is without a club, would you take him back, says Swish? God, no. I'm so despondent, says Free Immortal. Even if we get a midfielder, we are still getting a season of Bruno losing our runners. Our attack is our best chance of a decent season. Thank you, Free Immortal. How long do you give Amrim after the window, says Ben? I mean, look, Amrim needs to be given years, not games. Lammens needs to be given years, not games. Dorgu needs to be given years, not games. That's my whole point. If you bring Amrim in to change the whole system, you bring a goalkeeper in for potential. You bring a left wing back in for potential. Sheshko is potential. I'm sorry. The message is fasten your seatbelts. You're in for a bumpy ride. Unfortunately, I know the media and the fans won't swallow that. So I think we're in for a very bumpy ride. And it's surprising that United think it's a good strategy to go long term with a media and fan base that won't go beyond the next game. It's going to keep going like that, unfortunately. That's not because of me, by the way. That's not because of you. That's the world we live in. They've gone cheap with the goalkeeper. Hopefully we get a midfielder, says Mr. B. Right, okay, I am going to go and get some lunch. If you want to continue the conversation, I know Terry's live. And also, we're live from the studio from 2 o'clock till close. So this afternoon, 2 o'clock until 7 o'clock, we're live from the Manchester studio, reacting to everything. Hopefully there'll be a midfielder. And then 7 o'clock, it's my transfer review show. We do it every year. Can't wait for it because we spend 3 months marking the summer transfer window out of 10. And at 7 o'clock, we actually give it the definitive score. So get involved in that. We'll be breaking the window down from Delap all the way through to Sheshko, from the spend to, you know, the bomb squad, the whole lot. Can't wait for that. Hopefully there'll be a midfielder, but as of now, still no talks. Speak to you all in a bit. Stay safe. Take care. Thanks for all your opinions.